Are you ready to start?
Yes, I'm ready to start.
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Jorja and Alex.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Culture Bucket, episode number 14.
Yes, episode number 14.
Good. Episode number 14. I'm one of your hosts, George. With me is the other host, Alex. Say hello, Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome
Hi.
back.
Good. Thank you. Today, you join us for part 2 of our first two-parter on actors, our favourite actors. Last week's episode was so exciting. It's 10-6. Today, we're going all the way down to number 1. The stakes are getting higher.
Yes.
And it's
harder.
exciting times. The stakes are harder. Last week they were made of wood, and this week they're made of lead.
Oh! Jinx.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
we'll start with the place we traditionally start in, culture catch-up time.
This is Culture Catch-Up Time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch-Up Time.
So what have you been doing this week, George?
So much. Because our original plan was to record part 2 of this episode quite soon after part 1.
Yes.
And then that did not happen. No. So it's been...
Life got in the way.
Life got in the way, for sure. So it's been like a week and a half, maybe, has it?
Yeah, about
week
10
and a half
days.
or so?
Yeah.
10 days. That's the length of time you have to isolate in the UK if you're in contact with someone with coronavirus.
Is that not what you're doing right now, George?
it might be. Yeah. So, this week, I read a book. I read a book for the first time in a while.
I'm pretty sure you read a book last week as well.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. How I'm thinking of ending things.
That was...
Oh, I've just edited the episode. I just edited the episode. So
You edited that episode, but we actually recorded it quite a while ago.
So no, you haven't read a book.
Not since I'm thinking of ending things back in September. Was it September, I think? Or, yeah, September.
Yeah, but I edited that episode like a week ago. So
I know. Anyway, so I read a book called Devolution by Max Brooks. Do you know Max Brooks?
I don't.
So Max Brooks is the son of legendary comedian Mel Brooks, who you probably know.
Yes, of course.
And Max Brooks is most well known for writing The Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z, which...
Oh, I do love World War Z.
Yeah, and that was made into a slightly disappointing Brad Pitt movie, but the book is great.
What? That movie is amazing.
Oh, right, okay. It's made into an excellent Brad Pitt film.
You don't like World War Z?
No, it's fine, but there are better zombie movies. And it's not really a good adaptation of World War Z, the book.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anywho.
That's Max Brooks's kind of fame. Claim to fame is writing World War Z, which is an excellent book. So he's written this book, Devolution, which is told in a similar style to World War Z in terms of the fact that World War Z was written as if it was a journalist researching how a zombie apocalypse happened, and it was constructed from interviews and stuff throughout the world that he'd done with different people. It's kind of a cool way of writing a novel. Worked really well with World War Z. Doesn't work so well with Devolution, which is about a group of people who have gone to live in the middle of nowhere in the sort of Pacific Northwest area of America, kind of near Seattle, but in the middle of the forest, in like an eco village. And the idea is that all their their house is heated from bio waste created by their own human waste, and they don't have to do like all their food is brought to them by drones and things like that. So it's like the idea is they're living in the suburbs, but they're actually living in the middle of nowhere. But they're kind of meant to be communing with nature, that kind of thing. So the book paints them as a bunch of incredibly irritating sort of liberals, similar to the film The Hunt that I watched a few weeks ago, where I got kind of annoyed about the way that kind of paints left wing or liberal people in quite a weird way. So it sets it up with all these people living in this village, and they're literally living with the man who owns the tech company that made this village. So a pretty important man who you assume people would sort of care about. A volcano nearby erupts and creates a natural disaster that completely blocks them off from society in a way that just, I mean, he tries to explain it away by saying the clouds, the sky's full of ash and stuff, so no helicopters can get in, and there's like a lahar, which is a sort of, you know, lava flow that's destroyed the bridge and stopping anyone from getting to them. But part of it, he tries to kind of make out that Max Brooks tries to make out that nobody would come and look for these people, but he also tries to make out the guy that owns it is a sort of Steve Jobs-esque tech billionaire. He would definitely have anyway. It for me, kind of the fundamental thing that didn't work about the book is that it just didn't make sense that these people would be cut off in this way. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's accurate. But anyway, what happens is after a few days, they get attacked by Bigfoots, and the movie is about the book is about Bigfoots attacking people, and they have to fight back against the Bigfoots.
It just sounds like the most random book.
It is a random
ever.
book.
I thought zombies would come out, but
feet. Not zombies, big feet. And
big feet are coming out.
But one of the chapters ends with the main character wandering into a clearing where like an animal is being slaughtered, and in a way that, you know, is clearly a Bigfoot, but they haven't seen the Bigfoots yet, so they don't know that. But they see a footprint in the ground, and they're like, oh, that footprint is enormous. How could that possibly be? And the very last sentence of the chapter is, what kind of animal could have such a big foot? Come on. Anyway, so I was a bit excited to read Devolution because I really like Max Brooks and his work and stuff, but I really didn't care for this book at all.
How long does it take you to read a book?
Well, it took me about 3 or 4 days to read this book, but this book's not very long. It's only like 300 pages or so. So
okay,
yeah, no, not a long book. Not a long book at all.
But like 300 pages would take me quite a while. I think I'm a really slow reader.
Maybe, but I've been on holiday this week as well, so I had a lot of time to read. And now I'm onto the Secret Commonwealth again, which I'm finding hard to get through again. So we'll see if I manage to finish that.
Have you started it again?
No, because I remember what had happened in it and stuff. So I'm just carrying on. I'm about 36% of the way through, according to my Kindle.
Yeah.
So
well, I think you need to power through, and then like the end. It was hard for me to read as well, but I think towards the end it gets much better. I think it has to be hard to read because of like transition that Lara is going through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're probably right.
So you kind of feel, I don't know, Philip Pullman has got this amazing way to write and make you feel exactly how you're supposed to feel, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I will get there with it. But that's the book I've read. Now I want to talk about a video game. Alex, are you ready to talk about a video game?
Of course.
Yeah. I've been playing a game this week a lot that I've become obsessed with, and I want to recommend it to anyone who can play it. It's on the Nintendo Switch and PC. It's developed by Supergiant Games, who previously made a game called Bastion, which is great, and a game called Transistor, which is really good. And this game is called Hades.
Oh, like the like is it about the underworld?
It's exactly what it is, Alex. It's about the underworld.
I'm so knowledgeable.
You play as Zagreus, the son of Hades.
Okay.
And you are attempting to escape from the underworld to see your relatives on Mount Olympus. That's kind of the aim of the game.
Ooh.
So you start off at the bottom level of the underworld in Tartarus, and you have to try and fight your way through all these chambers to get out and up into Mount Olympus. And the kind of twist of the game is it's a roguelike game, which is a sort of genre of game where when your character dies, you start again at the beginning of the game. So you always have like one attempt to get through, if you see what I mean.
Oh my
But the
goodness.
so in Hades, when Zagreus is killed, he then has to go all the way back to the start, and he wakes up in his house, in Hades' house, and then has
Yeah.
to start his journey again. The thing that Hades does that makes it so brilliant is that the House of Hades is filled with various characters from Greek mythology. So Hades is there, obviously.
Mm.
Achilles is there. Hypnos is there. Nyx is there. Who's the Nyx is the goddess of night, and Hypnos is the goddess of, the god of sleep and stuff. Who else is there? There's a skeleton there you can talk to, and various other characters turn up as it goes on. And they remember each time you come back, they remember that what you've been doing. So you can go and talk to them each time, and they'll have new things to say to you and new little interactions, and you learn new little things with each kind of death that you make and attempt to get out again and stuff. And
Wow.
you can kind of unlock new skills as you go and things like that. But it's really the story that is the hook. And it's got, I can't remember the exact number, but I was reading that it's got more words in its script than most novels have. Like
Wow.
the amount of ways that characters can react to things you've done in the game seems almost infinite. It's an incredibly clever trick at making you feel like everything you've done has an impact on the characters and stuff like that. It's fantastic. It plays really well. You get various different weapons you can unlock, like a sword or a bow and arrow or a shield or a gun at one point. And you can, as you're going through, you'll see maybe a symbol on the ground. Sometimes it might be a cup of wine, or a lightning bolt, or a shield, or a trident. And when you pick it up, you have a little conversation with the god that is represented by that symbol. So the lightning bolt is Zeus, and the trident is Poseidon. The wine is Dionysus, the god of partying and stuff. And they'll give you what's called a boon, which kind of makes your character stronger in a way that's specific to that god. So maybe Zeus will give you something where when you hit an enemy, a lightning bolt hits the enemy as well, or Dionysus will give you something where when you kind of hit an enemy, they'll get hungover and it kind of weakens them. It's great. It's a fantastic, wonderful game, and if you're interested in Greek mythology at all, it's a really fun time to see the way they've interpreted these different characters and the interactions they have and stuff. And yeah,
Does it not
it's
get
fantastic.
frustrating going back every time to then
No,
start
and the
again?
thing is, there are some roguelikes where that is frustrating. Like you die and you have to start again. It's like, oh come on, I don't want to go back through all of that again. But because of the way Hades works, every time I die, I'm actually excited to go back and see what new things there might be to find in the starting area. If you see what I mean, and new conversations to have. You look really skeptical.
Well, yeah. I like. I'm not.
But
I don't play video games, so I think I'm amazed. That's all. No, I'm not skeptical. I'm actually like. I don't think I would have the patience. I don't think. That's why I don't think I play video games, because I don't have the patience to learn skills that way.
maybe, yeah, I can see that. But think of it as being like each death, rather than starting again, it's like a new chapter because you unlock a new bit of story each time. It is.
But
It
you
is
still
cool.
have to redo the same thing over and over again, don't you?
But the levels are randomized, so it's not the exact same set of chambers you go through each time. It will give you a different set of enemies to fight and stuff like that. So it mixes up just enough to keep it interesting, and then you'll unlock a different, like the gods you'll talk to and the special abilities you'll get with each run are different. So it kind of changes everything up each time to make it feel, like a new run, a new set of levels.
Okay.
It's really cool. When you finish the first area, you fight one of the what they call like the Fury sisters, called Megara.
Yeah.
And for the first 10 times you go through this first area, you fight Megara and you can defeat her and get through to the next area. But you'll still have to fight her again. And then one time you go in and it's not her, it's another one of the sisters. And suddenly it introduces it changes up the boss that you're fighting, and you have different. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And
sounds good.
in Hades' house, Cerberus is there, drawn
Oh.
as an extremely cute, three-headed, red German Shepherd. And there's a dedicated button to pet Cerberus, so you can go up to Cerberus and just stroke him and pet him as much as you want. It is.
But
the
is Cerberus
greatest.
nice, or is it just cute?
Cerberus is nice.
Okay.
Like you can talk to him and have a little conversation. He doesn't talk back to you, but you can talk to him and stuff, and it's cool. It's really cool. It's such a good game. I love it. So yeah, if you're into games at all, I would recommend checking out Hades. And if you're into games at all, you probably know what I mean when I talk about roguelikes and stuff like that, and you kind of know what you're getting into a bit. But yeah, it's cool stuff. Right, next, music. I've been listening to a couple of albums this week. One I really, really like and one I'm not sure on. So let's talk about the one I really like first. I've been listening to the new album, Alex, by Clipping. Do you know Clipping?
I do not know Clipping.
Clipping is a hip-hop trio of two producers whose names I forget. I'll look them up in a moment. Two producers and Daveed Diggs, who you know who Daveed
yes.
Diggs is, I think.
I do.
From
Hamilton.
Hamilton. So he's the rapper in this hip hop trio, and I've just accidentally searched for him on the internet instead of Clipping because I'm an idiot. Come on. Clipping is Daveed Diggs, Jonathan Snipes, and William Hudson or Hudson. They're a hip hop trio, two producers, a rapper, Daveed Diggs, and they've been going for a few years now. Maybe when did they start? 2009, so reasonably recent. They've put out a few albums, and the cool thing about them is they insist that they're like a kind of. They just think of themselves as a hip hop trio. They don't think of themselves as like an experimental hip hop group in any way. Like they think of themselves as like in the vein of Run DMC or Wu-Tang Clan or something. But the beats and sounds that they create are extremely abrasive at times and industrial and interesting and different, and they're very cool. And Daveed Diggs, as a lyricist for them, has this kind of core ethos, which is to never use the first person, never to be rapping about himself, always from the perspective of someone else. Which leads to really interesting and different songs that you don't tend to find anywhere else. Like they did an album a couple of years ago called, what was it called? Splendor and Misery, which was a science fiction album, an Afrofuturist science fiction album about somebody who wakes up on a spaceship that's kind of drifting through space. And it even won a sci-fi award. It won a Hugo Award, I think it was. A cool album. But last year, to really get me into them, they released an album called There Existed an Addiction to Blood, which is a horror-themed hip-hop album, which is... I listened to it a lot last year and loved it. It's such a good album. Like, it uses all these really, really strange, creepy, odd beats, and his rhymes and songs on the album are all about, murder scenes and ghosts and monsters and things. And it's a cool album. I like it a lot. Then, unexpectedly, about a month or so ago, they announced that they had actually intended to release 2 albums of horror rapping. But because of everything that happened in the world, they kind of had to delay the release of the second one. But they decided to put it out around Halloween, so they just put it out now. And the second album in their series of horror albums is called Visions of Bodies Being Burned.
Okay.
And somehow it's better than the last one. It is absolutely incredible. It is such a good album. I love it. I would recommend that everybody listens to it. And it's just kind of unlike anything else you're likely to hear. It's really, really cool. Like the 4th track, which was a single, is called 96 Neve Campbell. And in case you don't know, 96 is the year that Scream came out, and Neve Campbell was the star of Scream. So that song is all about, it's about the sort of final girl trope in horror films. And they've got 2 female rappers on there, Cam and China, kind of turning it around and being better than the killer and stuff like that. It's great. It's really cool. It's just a good album. I really, really like it. And yeah, I'd recommend anyone listen to it. I think it's great. Clipping have got this weird thing because one of the main places I go to look at like reviews of albums and stuff is Pitchfork, the website pitchfork.com.
Yeah.
And for some weird reason, Pitchfork seem to hate Clipping. They give all of their albums really bad reviews.
Well, Pitchfork
and I don't understand it.
Like every time you talk about Pitchfork, they seem to hate everyone.
I know, it's such an odd... Like, if I'm looking at the Wikipedia page now for this album, Visions of Bodies Being Burned, and like All Music gave it 4 out of 5, Clash gave it 8 out of 10, Exclaim 9 out of 10, The Line of Best Fit 8 out of 10, Pop Matters 8 out of 10, Under the Radar 8.5 out of 10, DIY Magazine 4 out of 5, Pitchfork 6 out of 10. And that's the highest score they've ever given an album. They gave the last one, which is also brilliant, 4.5 out of 10. And I don't understand... They just seem to have this thing against them. I don't get it. Anyway, I love them. Clipping are great. I think they're probably not listened to enough because they are a little bit odd, but they're very much worth giving a go to. So yeah, are you going to listen to Visions of Bodies Being Burned, Alex?
I'll try. Well, it sounds interesting. I never heard of horror in music, but
Yeah, it's
is it
cool.
is
It's
it
different,
quite
isn't it?
is it quite gruesome?
I don't think it's too gruesome. No, it's a bit ominous.
Hmm.
But it's got some like the last album. The last album now existed in Addiction to Blood. The final track on it is called Piano Burning, and it's just an 18-minute long audio recording of a piano on fire.
Okay.
It's pretty cool stuff.
The ideas that some people have are amazing.
Oh, I think that's based on a sort of famous composition by a composer or something. I'm not too sure, but it's cool. And the new album, the last track is an interpretation of an experimental piece of music by Yoko Ono, which again is a little bit strange, but cool. So yeah, the other album I've been listening to is by a much more well-known group called Gorillaz. Anyone who's not in the know, Gorillaz is this sort of virtual band fronted by Damon Albarn, who does the music, and Jamie Hewlett, who does the illustrations, because they're kind of an animated group. And they have been going since 2001. They've been going for so long now. It's crazy. Yeah.
Is it? Oh my! Wow.
Yeah, the first Gorillaz album came out in 2001. And then the second Gorillaz album came out a couple of years after, Demon Days, and that is still my favourite album of theirs. I love that album.
That is an amazing album. 19 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Clint Eastwood came out 19 years ago. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
I like Gorillaz quite a bit, but I sometimes find that because they have so many collaborators on their albums, the actual sound of Gorillaz can occasionally be lost on a full album. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Humans, I don't know if you listened to their album Humans that came out in 2017, suffered a little bit from that. Was a bit kind of Too Many Cooks-esque. So their new album is called Song Machine Volume 1. And what they've been doing throughout 2020 is every month or so they've been putting out a single with a different set of collaborators on it. So I think one of the first ones had Slow Tie and Slaves on it, and Slow Tie's a British rapper and Slaves was sort of British punk band, and that was quite an interesting track. And now Song Machine Volume 1 is collecting together the first run of songs from that album. And it is pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty crazy set of people they've got on this album. The opening track is called Strange Times, and the vocals are done by Robert Smith from The Cure.
Oh.
Yeah, then it's followed up immediately by a song featuring Beck. You've then got a song featuring St. Vincent not long after, and you've got a song featuring, who else? Elton John turns up.
It's a mishmash of artists, isn't it?
It is, and mishmash of artists is a pretty good description, because it is an album that goes all over the place. Like, you've got track number 5 features St. Vincent, track number 6 Elton John, track number 7 Peter Hook from New Order, and it sounds like a New Order song.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of so there are really good songs on it. It's really interesting. It's 17, like the version on Spotify that I've been listening to is about 17 songs long. It's a long album, and I feel like hiding somewhere within it is like looking at it on Wikipedia, the first 11 tracks are the official album, then the rest are like the deluxe version. But if you just listen to it on Spotify, it's presented to you as like one album of 17 tracks or whatever, and I think hiding within it is an album of about 12 tracks that's really, really good, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, my main issue with it is that because of the way it's been made, and it's called Song Machine, it's literally just them pumping out singles all year. It doesn't hang together as an album in the way that, say, Plastic Beach. Do you remember that album that they did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that album is a concept. It's a complete piece of music in a way that has a message and a theme. And so this album feels like just whoever turned up that month, they made a song, and it could have been about anything. And it's a cool idea, and there's some really good tracks on it. But when I've sat down and tried to listen to it through as an album, I've just kind of inevitably gotten bored about 5 or 6 tracks in, which is a bit of a pity in a way. But I'd recommend you give it a go and listen to it, and I'm sure you'll be able to pick out a handful of songs that you really like. Like that one featuring Robert Smith is brilliant, and shows that he has so much fire left in his voice. Like that, they need to do a new album. The Cure absolutely need to put something out, because It is really cool. So yeah, that's Song Machine Volume 1 by Gorillaz. Then let's get into some films that I watched. So just after we last recorded, I went to the cinema again.
Hmm.
And
Again?
I went again, yeah.
Wow.
Well, because I've been I went to see Tenet and I went to see Saint Maud. And that's it. Oh, and Bill and Ted. So yeah, went to cinema again.
Wow.
I went to the IMAX, the giant cinema screen.
Now?
The Cineworlds have all closed, but the
Cineworlds.
View and Odeons and stuff are still open. But there's not really much out. But because there's not much out, they've been putting on kind of special showings of classic films and stuff like that to try and get people in a little bit. So they showed on the IMAX a 4K HD restoration of the classic anime Akira.
No.
Yes. Yes. I got to
How
see
was that?
Akira on the IMAX, and it was
wow.
incredible. It was
wow.
so good.
I'm amazed. I want to go there.
Like, I don't know, if you've never seen a film in the IMAX and you're listening, the IMAX is a screen that's so big it essentially fills your vision. And the opening shot of Akira is that the camera zoomed in on the crater and then it pulls out and the crater kind of fills in from the edges of the screen and then the title appears over it, Akira. It was like looking into blackness, and then just from the edge of my vision, this crater started to appear, and then Akira in 20-foot high letters on the screen in front of me. It was amazing. It was like seeing the film for the first time. It was so cool, and it's given me a whole new appreciation for that movie. The soundtrack on the speakers in that cinema was absolutely phenomenal. That would be, if I'd seen that a week or so earlier, I'd have possibly put that in my film music list, and definitely in the honourable mentions, because it is such a good score. So yeah, we've talked about Akira before on the podcast, but I wanted to quickly say I've seen it on IMAX, and I don't know how many people ever get an opportunity to do that, but if you do have an opportunity to do it, definitely make use of it, because it's so good. It's so cool. Let's see. Then I watched a film called The Loved Ones, which is an Australian horror film from 2009, directed by Sean Byrne. And it's about a guy who, let's see, he's a teenager in school, not the prom, because they don't call it that in Australia, but like the kind of end-of-year dance, the homecoming dance or something is happening. He's going to go with his girlfriend, but some other girl invites him to the dance and he says no. Then what's he doing? He's kind of, his mum has died at the start of the movie and he's quite sad about that. So he goes to sort of ruminate on it somewhere and he gets knocked out. And when he wakes up, he's in this girl's house, the girl who'd asked him to go to a dance. He's tied to a chair and her and her dad proceed to torture and mutilate him for about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a nasty, grisly, mean-spirited Australian horror film, and I really enjoyed it.
Sounds awful.
It's quite intense, but it's got some pretty good imagery in it, and
like,
yeah, you
what
don't
kind of pretty good imagery? Like, what?
There's
what
like,
do you consider pretty good imagery in like somewhere where somebody gets tortured and dismembered?
They have this huge door in the floor of their kitchen, and when they open it up, it kind of opens up into this huge pit they've got underneath their house that's full of bones and these people that they've kidnapped and put in there. And there's a bit where he kind of falls into the pit, and then she slams the door, and you can see the light from the door, and just as she closes the door, it sort of cuts off the screen. It looks pretty good. Like, it's a well-shot, well-made film. It's worth checking out if you're into horror films, because I think it's probably one that's not quite as well known as some others. Like, it's a bit, if you're into Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that, it's pretty good. The girl who plays the girl who kidnaps the boy puts in an amazing performance. Like, she is a really, really grim character. Like, the way she acts in the movie is really cool. Well, not like interesting to see. So yeah, The Loved Ones. I would recommend it if you can put up with some, if you like stuff like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and kind of exploitation cinema or stuff like that, then would recommend it. The Loved Ones, 2009. Give it a go. Yeah, but anyway, it's good stuff. Then I watched on YouTube, and I think anyone can watch this. I watched Holy Calamavote. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
You would like this. You should check it out. Holy Calamavote is something that's been made to encourage people in the US to vote in the upcoming election. It's hosted by Eric Andre, and what it literally is it's Run the Jewels performing their newest album in full for the first time on stage.
No.
Yes. Yeah. It's very simple. It's just they turn up at the start, they run through the album in full. A couple of the guest collaborators turn up, and the rest are kind of portrayed on screens and stuff around them. And it's really, really cool. It's really awesome. Like, they haven't been able to get out there and gig and do tours of this album around the world yet, so they've decided to do this. Adult Swim have put it together in America. It was shown on Adult Swim, but for international audiences, they've put it up on YouTube. So I think it's still available on YouTube. You should be able to watch it. And it's really cool to see Killer Mike and LP just out there, doing their music. It's awesome. It's about 45 minutes long, and it's a great album, and it holds up well to being performed live in full, I think. So
sounds
check
good.
it out.
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out.
Good. It's the way it starts is really cool because they sort of drive up to the studio in a car and get out, and then the way the album just starts really quickly. They just suddenly start and it's on. It's really, really cool. So yeah, Holy Calamavote on YouTube. Check it out. It's good. All right, then we'll just run through a couple more because there's no point talking loads about these. I watched a film called Green Room, written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier. It's about a punk band that goes to do a gig. Oh, have you heard of it?
No.
Oh, sorry, you went as if you knew it. It's fine. Sorry. No, sorry.
So
they go to
you can still think I'm alive.
They're a struggling punk band who go to do a gig somewhere, and it turns out that the pub that they're gigging in, or the bar they're gigging in, is run by neo-Nazis, headed up by Patrick Stewart.
Oh, Patrick Stewart. Awesome.
Patrick Stewart, yep. And they do their gig, and then they go back to the green room afterwards to get ready to leave. Something horrible happens in the green room, and they end up trapped in the green room with the neo-Nazis trying to get in to kill them, essentially. It's a really good film. I've seen it before. It's brilliant. Not much more to say other than that about it. Seeing Patrick Stewart play neo-Nazi is something that you're not going to see very often. So it's a crazy, crazy good film. Also stars Anton Yelchin in one of his final roles before he tragically died. So
Okay.
Yeah, give that a go. Then I watched Sinister, which I watched Sinister because this week a report came out that they had scientifically determined the scariest film of all time.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was determined that the scariest film of all time is Sinister, starring Ethan Hawke.
That's where he is.
Yeah, exactly. We were asking, weren't we, where Ethan Hawke was? He's in Sinister. If loud noises and things jumping out at you are terrifying, then Sinister certainly is the scariest film of all time, because it's just that for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's quite a good film, but not worth talking about too much. Then I watched Eraserhead, David Lynch's debut film from 1977. Yep. Don't roll your eyes at that. How dare you?
No, sorry.
Yes,
I didn't
I
think
just
you
saw you roll your eyes at that.
I didn't think you would notice.
I saw you do that, and you're not cutting that out. That's staying in.
I didn't roll my eyes. There was something on the wall.
You rolled your eyes.
Sorry.
It's a masterpiece, Alex. Thank you very much. It's a masterpiece of surreal cinema, and you should watch it. Anyway, then I watched I watched a film called Death of a Vlogger.
Okay, Death of a Vlogger.
Death of a Vlogger. This is a film. It's a Scottish film. It must have been made on almost like no money at all. The director stars in it and shot it on his phone in his own apartment. And he plays a sort of vlogger, a YouTuber who's trying to, just trying to get people likes and reactions and stuff like that and whatever. He does a video one day where he's had laser eye surgery done. And his girlfriend sets up the stream for him, and it's just meant to be live streaming, talking about what it's like to have laser eye surgery. But obviously he's alone in the room, and he's got a blindfold on. A cup on his table falls off the table in front of him, gets pushed off the table, and then his door gets slammed shut. So it's supposedly, the first ever actual evidence of a haunting on camera. And then it goes from there. He tries to kind of make, get some fame out of it and stuff, and the haunting kind of... It's a really cool movie. It was made for so little money, and they get some really creepy, sinister... Like, it's as scary as Sinister, which is this Hollywood blockbuster horror film. But instead of any of that, it's just one guy and a couple of his mates making it in Glasgow. It's on Amazon Prime in the UK right now. I would highly, highly, highly recommend anyone who likes any sort of thrillers, creepy films at all of any kind, watch Death of a Vlogger. It's really, really cool for what it is. Good stuff. Then I watched The Wicker Man, classic film, 1973, I believe. Yeah, Christopher Lee, Edward Woodward, goes to the island. We talked about it before. One of my favourite soundtracks ever. It's a good film.
Awesome.
Then I watched Here Comes Hell, which is on Amazon Prime. Again, another movie that's made for basically no money. It's in black and white, but the really cool thing about it is it starts off being filmed as if it's a 1940s like murder mystery film, like as if it's being filmed in the 1940s with very steady camera shots and stuff like that. As the film progresses, the style of filming kind of goes through the ages of cinema and ends up being a bit like an Edgar Wright sort of Shaun of the Dead, zappy, really manic film, which is pretty cool and interesting. Again, probably made for no money. It's about 75 minutes long. The acting is ropey, to be generous. But again, it's on Prime, very easy to watch, and I'd recommend Here Comes Hell. Then I watched Happy Death Day. It's a good film. And then the last film I watched today, about half an hour before we finished, I really want to talk about it because I think that you should watch it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good. I watched a new film that's just come on Netflix the day we're recording called His House.
Okay.
His House is about a couple who have escaped from South Sudan, escaped from, really awful violence that's threatening their lives, and made the awful crossing in a dinghy across the English Channel to get to the UK. They get picked up as asylum seekers, and they get, after a couple of days in a detention centre, they get assigned a house and a social worker played by Matt Smith, who used to be Doctor Who. The couple are played by, let me get this right, Wunmi Masaku and Sope Derisu. I'm really sorry if I got those names wrong. They play the couple, and they are assigned a house to live in and told that if they leave the house or break any of their, kind of rules that are given to them, they will be taken and sent back to where they came from, essentially.
Okay.
This week, news has broken this very week that people have died attempting one of these crossings to get to the UK. It's a real thing. It's a horrible thing that's happening right now in our world.
Yeah.
That should not be allowed to happen.
No.
And I think it's really important that Netflix still released this film this week, because it could have been very easy to not put it out. Yeah. But I think it gives it's written and directed by a young British black director called Remy Weeks is his name. It's his debut film, and it really shows you how difficult this experience is, and even once you get to the UK and if you get assigned a house and all of this, how difficult it can still be. And he's talked in an interview about the way that you want to fit in and do what's right, but also there's so many signs and messages telling you that you're not welcome and that you don't belong and you should go back, that you almost want to rebel against that and then stand up and be yourself as well, and how difficult it is to kind of resign those two things together. He does a really clever thing of the house that these people are given is totally anonymous looking. The estate that they're living on looks really run down and unpleasant to live on, but also could be anywhere in the UK. He goes to have a haircut and he asks the barber where they are, and the barber's like, "You're on the high street, mate." And he's like, "What, in London?" The barber goes, "Sure." Because they literally, you get taken to one of these detention centres and then you get driven to anywhere in the UK and assigned a house, and you have no idea where you are at all. So yeah, it's a really, it's an amazing film. Now the thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the house they are given is haunted.
Okay.
So it's a sort of
like you. It's amazing how you could just find a film that is, talks about something that is actual now, and then it's but it's haunted. The house is haunted. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but the thing that is haunting them ties in with the story of where they have come from, and the more you find out about what happened to them before they left, and the more that the haunting is being used to explore guilt, grief, trauma, all of these feelings that this couple have coming to this country because there are people that didn't make it, and how that how that is affecting them is manifested by this spirit or witch or whatever it is that's kind of haunting them and making their life difficult now that they're in the UK. And I think it's an amazing example of how horror cinema can explore these real social issues and ideas in a way that sort of, I don't know, is really interesting and different. And yeah, I really love this movie, His House. I gave it 5 stars, and I would recommend it to anyone. I think it's awesome, and I'm so happy that films like that can be made and put out by Netflix and available for people to watch. And you should check it out. It's on. I assume it's on worldwide on Netflix. Anyone can see it. The 2 performances the 2 main actors put in are absolutely brilliant. So yeah. Great stuff. His House. So that's everything I have to talk about in Culture Catch Up today. How about you?
All I have to say is wow. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Cool. So it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week I talked about how I binge Adam Buxton, and by binging Adam Buxton, I found George the Poet.
Yes.
And then we talked about last week about the chicken and the egg.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, usually I just binge Adam Buxton, but he was so he had such great reviews and things to say about George the Poet's podcast that I thought, oh, I'll give it a listen.
Yeah.
And it's just been 10 days of George the Poet.
Okay.
I really I want to talk about his podcast because I think it's amazing. I haven't listened to a podcast like this ever. It's really unique. The sound, first of all, and that's one thing that Adam Buxton was saying. The sound was amazing, and it is. The sound is so good, and it's a BBC podcast, so they have like lots of music, and because they have the BBC has got the rights to every music, so they've got music composed by other people, but also music composed for the podcast, and is by Ben Brick, which seems like an incredible person. But the podcast is really, really good because the content is so varied. Yeah. It's like sometimes is there's poetry, but it's kind of like sometimes is reality, sometimes is in his head. It talks about factual things or things that are happening or things that he thinks might happen, and it's just so amazing because it changes scenes, it changes topics. At one point, he talks about there's an episode about that you're not really sure what it's talking about, and it's I don't wanna spoil it because when I found out what it was talking about, I actually was really emotional. But actual factual things that then at the end you find out what they are, and he's so amazing with his words. That is great. It's just a really, really good podcast, and he includes a lot of people in it, and he studied sociology, so I think he really kind of talks. Well, he's interested in politics and society, and it's really, really, really good. And I think it's definitely a podcast to listen to, which is called "Have You Heard George's Podcast?"
It's a good title.
Yeah, it is a good title. Like the first season is really good and really interesting. I kind of sometimes it follows, like it's quite. It makes sense, but the second season just goes everywhere. and it's really, really interesting. And at one point, there's it goes between different places, and then at one point they are in George's brain, and like thoughts are fighting each other. And
Right.
like how the sound is made, it just changes how, if somebody's calling on the phone, you hear it like a little bit distant, and then for example sometimes you don't necessarily hear what they're saying because they're people talking.
Yeah.
So like they put people talking, so it looks like he's in a room, so it's like, oh sorry, just a moment, and then he closes the door and then he starts talking to you again. It's really, really interesting, and it's 2 seasons at the moment, 2 seasons, 18 episodes, and I think it's definitely something to listen to because it's really, really good. And
How long is each episode?
about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite short. Yeah.
How do you listen to it?
On Spotify.
On Spotify, and what do you do while you're listening to it?
I drive.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to do something that doesn't distract you.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's
what
a
I was
story.
thinking.
So you can't just listen to it whilst cleaning or anything. You have to listen to it and just listen to it. So I listen to it whilst driving, and I can, because it's about an hour drive, I can listen to like 3 episodes at a time, or 6 episodes a day.
Wow.
Because I'm obsessed. But yeah, there are some episodes that are about an hour. There's an hour special, and there are some specials. But I really love where it's going, and it hasn't got any rules. It's just good. I think definitely a good listen. And from that, he did an hour special where he kind of interviewed people, and the last song in this hour special was with a guy. They sang a song called "Follow the Leader" with a guy called, with an artist called Maverick Sabre. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, Maverick Sabre. I pronounce it normally.
Sabre. I don't know. I'm in Italy. See, that's the thing. I arrived 2 years later in this country. So,
Well, I mean, it might be. He might just. I don't know how he pronounces it, but no, I've heard of Maverick Sabre, but I don't know much about him.
Yeah, and I thought when he was singing with George, I really liked his voice. So I thought, I'll listen to his album. And well, he has 3 albums out. And I listened to 2 of them. One is called Inner Standing, that was released in 2015, and one is called When I Wake Up. Inner Standing is okay. It's an okay album. It's enjoyable to listen to, but I was, when you don't really like, I don't know, concentrate on an album. But When I Wake Up, the album released in 2019,
Yeah.
great. Have you listened to it?
No.
Okay. No, it's really, really good. And I think he's got a really beautiful voice. It's really smooth and it's just really good. And I was watching some of his live performances, and when he sings, his moves are as smooth as his voice. So he's mesmerizing to watch. It's really weird. Like, I was watching these clips and I was just mesmerized by Maverick Sabre, and I thought it's really, really good. And his music is just a lot of the time sounds like other things but different. Sometimes I hear Michael Kiwanuka, sometimes I hear Plan B. It's just really, really interesting artists. And When I Wake Up, it's kind of it talks about there are stories about gun violence, domestic abuse, loneliness, and it's a really, really good album, and it's got some really good songs. And one of them that I really liked is called Slow Down.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing song, which features an artist I've been listening to. Yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of like
creating a chain.
Yeah, because usually I listen to something, and then you listen to them and then you forget about it. So you listen to a podcast, you hear that the person is amazing, but then you go. And I'm trying to make, because I'm so behind being in Italy, I'm trying to make a conscious decision to go, if something I like, I just go and see it, because if not, I'm just, listening to Around the Jewels all the time, or stuff that you recommend to me, and I have to have some content, don't I?
Yeah, clipping, visions of bodies being burned.
Yes. And so this song, Slow Down, with Jorja Smith. And so slightly, do you know her?
I know her, but I haven't listened to her. But my brother really likes her.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So she only released one album.
Oh, and by the way, sorry, little, sorry, sorry for cutting you off. Just minor correction.
No.
I've been asked. Minor correction. I've been asked to make weeks and weeks ago when you said that your favourite singer-songwriter was Janelle Monáe. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you said that it was because I had told you about her. My brother was quite upset that we didn't mention that he had told me about her in the first place. So you just reminded me by talking about Jorja Smith. Janelle Monáe came to me via my brother, so thank you, Carl. Sorry, Alex, I do apologise for cutting you off. Tell me about Jorja Smith and her album, please.
Would you like to talk some more?
No, I want you to talk.
Hours to go.
Well, that is...
But yeah, so Jorja Smith, she just released an album which is Lost and Found, and she released it in 2008. And whilst I was listening to it, I thought,
Sorry, when did she release it?
2018, not 2008. Source.
That's right.
And when I was listening to it, I thought it was quite eclectic. I was like, oh, it's interesting about an artist to have such an eclectic kind of album. And then I went to read about it, and actually it's just a collection of songs that she's been writing since she was 18.
Right.
And so it is eclectic. I make new words. Eclectic. It is quite eclectic, but it's really, really good. It's
okay.
From the first song to the last song, it's just like all of them are different, very separate songs, and I think I quite like that. I don't know if you would enjoy it because you're quite like a concept kind of guy, I think. But I think you should give it a listen because
I can get with albums that are like Janelle Monáe's album Dirty Computer, for example, is very, I don't mind albums that play with a lot of different styles and genres and stuff necessarily.
Yeah.
So,
but it's really, really good. I definitely recommend it. It's called Lost and Found.
Yeah, I will listen to it.
And what I didn't know, she also collaborated with Kendrick Lamar in a song "I Am" for in the soundtrack of Black Panther.
Oh, okay. So, right, interesting. Huh.
Yeah. So I thought it was really, really good, and she's amazing. And I've been enjoying listening to new music, and I know it's not new, but it's new to me. So if somebody wants to give me some new something to listen that is from 2020, please do.
You're fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, but I definitely recommend Jorja Poet. Have you heard George's podcast? I think is really, really good, and I'm really enjoying what I'm learning and which artists I am finding out because of him. So it's really, really good. And then I would like to talk about a series I've been watching.
Yes, please.
Which is an HBO series called Insecure.
Okay. No.
It's a kind of comedy drama, which is created by Issa Rae and Larry Wilmore, and it is based on Issa Rae's web series called Awkward Black Girl.
Okay.
And I started watching it because I found it on Sky, because finally I've got Sky as well. Yeah. And it's well, from what it says to IMDb, it's like stories of the Black female experience from the perspective of two female protagonists, Issa and Molly. So Issa and Molly are best friends. They know each other from they went to university together or college in Stamford, and they are in their late 20s, and they're kind of navigating through life, relationships, jobs, insecurities, etc., etc. It's a really good series. What I love is the music. The music is actually curated by Solange Knowles.
Oh, okay.
It's got an incredible soundtrack. And yeah, so it's good. And what I like about it is just the main character, Issa. She is kind of going through a transition. She's like in 29 and she has this boyfriend that is not being really kind of supportive, and he hasn't got a job, and she's got a job that she's not really fulfilled with. And there are 4 seasons, and I'm on the 3rd one, and she still hasn't changed her job. The job is still the same. She still hasn't sorted anything. She still hasn't figured anything out. And it could be frustrating, but at the same time, it's quite realistic because you know, you don't sort everything out. Is because you break up from your boyfriend doesn't mean that everything is going to be fine. Because you sleep with that guy, you're not going to be happier. Even if you want another job, you're not going to get it because it's difficult, or you have got, you know, you kind of feel maybe you're scared. So I like that it's not all successes. There's a lot of failures and a lot of like staticness. So I find that quite realistic. And sometimes you go, because she's a really the main character, she's a really good at kind of like good freestyler. So she's really good at freestyling, and her freestyling is kind of about her real life, and you go, well, you should do something like that. But she doesn't, because in a way the series is called Insecure. So I guess that's the thing about it. She's insecure about it. And her best friend is a lawyer who works in a firm full of white people, and she kind of has to act a certain way to like fit in. And then the more it goes on, the more kind of like then she changes firms, and there's different problems. So there's a lot of like also things about kind of like race and gender and decisions and blah blah blah. But I think it's really really good, and I really love the music, and I love the decisions they make in music, because it's just really really good. And one thing that I found interesting reading about it today, I read some trivia. It's just like since the beginning, well, I don't know why I keep watching stuff with lots of sex scenes. I don't know, and I'm not prudish, but I find him so uncomfortable. I don't know why. And this has got lots of sex scenes, like a lot. And I'm like, why? And it's constant, like from Euphoria to Sex Education to it just, I don't know. But there are a lot of sex scenes here. But something that Issa Rae, the creator, like said at the beginning, is that you would have to see male actors showing nakedness more than female actresses, which is good because usually it's the other way around. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bums.
There's a lot of what? Oh, bums.
Bums.
Right. Fair enough. I mean, it is on HBO, so that does seem to be their vibe.
Is that what it is? Maybe because I'm watching HBO things, like Euphoria was too much, and that's the thing with Euphoria was like there was a lot of girl nakedness, but with this one there's a lot of male nakedness, and it's not that it bothers me. It just sometimes I feel like it's not necessary. So I'm not sure if Americans are like, you really want to have the sex scene, but it's just too. I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm not bothered by that stuff, so I don't really know.
I'm weirded out about it. But maybe because I haven't really watched many HBO series because I haven't had the opportunity, and I'm just navigating my now in HBO, and so I'm a bit.
It's a lot of
out.
Game of Thrones was famous for having, you know.
See, I've never watched Game of Thrones, so.
Oh, you're fine. Let's not worry about it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So maybe because I haven't been an HBO watcher, maybe. But no, it's good. It's really really good, and I'm enjoying it, and I think they're going to have a 5th series, so it's kind of really successful.
Oh, that's good. I definitely I've heard of Issa Rae, and she's always described as like Insecure creator Issa Rae, but I've never ever actually watched it, and I've just looked it up, and it's not on anything here. I can't watch it, so yeah.
Oh, okay. I randomly found it because I wanted to watch something after Euphoria that was a little bit less daunting. And
Right.
this was definitely something good.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad. If it ever pops up on Now TV, which is our sort of equivalent to Sky,
Yeah.
streaming service thing, I'll give it a go.
Yeah. It's good. I like it.
What else?
Cool. That's it for me. I haven't been as busy as you, but yeah,
Nay,
that's it for me.
bother.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, after an epic catch up, shall we do some homework?
Sit down at the back and be quiet and get out your book because it's time to discuss your homework. Now.
Last week we talked about actors. One of your favourite actors is Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
So I had to watch Quigley Down Under.
Before we start, before you say anything, can I say something about Quigley Down Under?
Go for it.
So I haven't watched it in years.
No.
And I like Alan Rickman in it.
Yeah.
If it's like not very correct, I apologize. Like I watched it when I was a kid. But yeah, so if it hasn't aged well, or if it's like kind of, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to watch Alan Rickman in it. And then if it's everything else is bad, then I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go,
cool.
George.
So Quigley Down Under is a film from 1990 starring Tom Selleck as Quigley and Alan Rickman as Elliot Marston and Laura San Giacomo as
San Giacomo.
San Giacomo as a character whose name in the credits is Crazy Cora.
Yeah. She's amazing though, isn't she?
Well, she's something else. Quigley is an American cowboy who answers an ad looking for someone, a sharpshooter, and goes to Australia to be hired by Alan Rickman, who basically wants him to murder Australian Aboriginal people so that he can have more land, is essentially the plot. Quigley, being a good cowboy, quickly realises that Alan Rickman is a bad guy and he doesn't want to help him murder Aborigines. So turns against him and gets attacked, and the film is a big conflict between Alan Rickman and Tom Selleck. I suppose in terms of you saying, if it's not correct, etc., it could probably be criticised in 2020 for a bit of a white saviour narrative thing.
Okay, yeah.
But if we, which is a fair criticism, it is very much like...
Yeah. Well, it was made in the 90s, and we still thought we were saving everyone. So
yeah, at the end, all the Aborigines come and stand on a big cliff and worship Tom Selleck's mustache. But it was, I can't remember. I read about it, and it was very much written and directed by somebody who very much cared about telling that story accurately. So I think it could have been much worse in its portrayal of Indigenous people in Australia. So I think it does have a level of respect for the story it's telling. But obviously, as it was made in 1990, there are elements that are a bit uncomfortable today. But let's put that aside. As a film, it is completely bonkers. It is so weird. Mainly thanks to the character of Crazy Cora, who... It's like 1990 attempting to do a strong female character. But ultimately in the end she does just fall in love with Tom Selleck for literally no reason at all.
What? Would you not fall in love with Tom Selleck?
They have barely exchanged any words. She doesn't even call him by his name. She calls him by her dead husband name for like the whole film.
But like he's tall, he's got a moustache. Come on.
These are not reasons to fall in love with somebody.
He's good with a gun. Why? Why?
She is she's crazy. The movie calls her crazy. It's not the best vocabulary to use, but she's crazy because her child died
Yeah.
because of she was trying to make her child be quiet and she smothered it and killed it, I think is what
Yeah. Yeah, because the dingoes were coming.
because
Was it the dingoes?
something like that, or coyotes or something, because I think it happened in Texas. So there's a scene where she's protecting some indigenous children, and one of them's crying, and she has like a big character moment where she's like, "No, cry away." It's a weird film, Alex, but I really enjoyed it. had a
It's
good
isn't it?
I had a good time watching it. You
Yeah.
know, it's on Netflix in the UK. If it happens to be on Netflix where you live, give it a go.
Yeah.
And I did watch it with the intention of checking out Alan Rickman, and he is doing his Alan Rickman thing in it, and it is fantastic.
It's so good, isn't it?
It's just after Die Hard. You know, it's young Alan Rickman. He's basically doing his Hans Gruber thing again. He's incredibly charismatic and entertaining. The only complaint I have regarding Alan Rickman, he is the villain of the movie, so it's not a spoiler to say he gets defeated in the end, and I feel like it's slightly anticlimactic when he does get defeated.
Yeah.
He just sort of Quigley just turns up and he's like, right, well, I'm done with you now, and defeats him. And I don't know, I'd have liked to see. I don't know. It felt like I wasn't ready to say goodbye to Alan Rickman at that point.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's always like that with Alan Rickman. You
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
of want him to like not lose. But he does, and you're just so sad. And I think that's why I fell in love with him in that film, because it was the first time that I really didn't want the bad guy to lose.
Which is totally fair.
Yeah.
I think my favourite scene in the movie, a scene that everyone should watch, look it up on YouTube, I'm sure it's on YouTube, is when Quigley first turns up at Elliot Marston's little compound and demonstrates his ability with a rifle.
Yeah.
And Alan Rickman and him are kind of bantering back and forth, and he gets a man to ride out with a bucket, and he shoots this bucket and stuff. That scene is brilliant. That's a really, really, really entertaining little bit of film. There's some parts that are a bit dull overall, but generally, I actually thought it was good. I liked it, and yeah, Alan Rickman is fantastic in it, so I can understand why you'd watch that and like him. So yeah, Quigley Down Under. Thank you for getting me to watch it. I can absolutely guarantee that I would never have watched that film if you hadn't told me to, so thank you.
I'm glad you did. So yeah, I added something to your life with some
It's weird actually. I was thinking about
Australian movie.
While I was watching it, I was thinking like that movie easily, if that hadn't starred Tom Selleck, it very easily could star Bruce Willis or, you know, another 90s action star.
Yeah.
And if it starred Bruce Willis, for example, I would have watched it. It could be the exact same film, but just have Bruce Willis in it instead of Tom Selleck, and I'd have watched it, because I'll watch a film with Bruce Willis in, and I just don't, as beautiful as Tom Selleck is, I don't have any kind of affinity. Like, I never watched Magnum P.I., and I just know him as the guy from Friends, essentially. So I've never really watched him in much.
In Italy, he was super popular, and he still is. He's got a new series now about lawyers or something. But so I watched Magnum P.I., and I loved Tom Selleck.
Yeah, that's
so
totally fair.
I watched that film because of Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
And then I fell in love with Alan Rickman.
Which is fair, because he's the best.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so your homework?
Cool. My homework, I had to watch Her Smell.
Her Smell?
Because one of your favorite actresses is Elizabeth Moss. So the plot is quite simple.
Yes.
Is this punk rocker who is in is quite self-destructive, and she struggles with sobriety. I don't think she's ever sober until most of the film she's not sober.
Yeah.
And she's trying to become. Well, I guess the band was very popular and successful, and I think she is trying with her band to become successful again, or keep the success, or I don't know.
Well, the story takes place over quite a long period of time, doesn't it? So it kind of, she has different motivations throughout the film.
Absolutely. My confusion comes from me not really knowing what was going on for 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Right.
So I think they were popular. I don't know if they were popular. I don't know what was happening. I'm not sure when it was happening. So the first 20 minutes, you go, if first, no, let's say 10 minutes, you go, oh, okay, oh, amazing. And you're right. Elizabeth Moss is amazing. She's great. It didn't look like Elizabeth Moss. She was very intense and talked really fast and was going everywhere and
Yeah,
everything.
she almost feels like the Joker out of Batman in that early stuff.
Yeah. The one issue that I had is that the version where I found it didn't have any subtitles.
Right.
So I understood maybe 30% of the dialogue in the entire film.
Right, okay.
So because they talk very fast or very quietly or very, and I felt like they were trying too hard. Everybody was trying too hard.
Wow, really?
And yeah, because it was just kind of like, instead of like having a dialogue, it was all very like whispery and intense. And I seriously, in one scene where they're in a club and I think she's supposed to go on, I did not understand what it was going on. I did not. I felt the acting was good, but if I don't understand the dialogue, that's part of the acting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I
So-
mean, I don't... yeah, that's fair if you don't understand the dialogue. I did.
Yeah, okay. I would watch it again if I were you, because there's some really whispery moments, and I had the volume up to like 90, and I was like, I do not understand what they're saying. Also, the film is extremely long. Yeah, and I I don't know. I didn't know who was who, what they were talking about. There's one scene when they're like, "Oh, Auntie somebody is in the car." Like, who is Auntie something? And then the Angus Haynes come in. You're like, ah, that's who she is. And then they have a conversation. I did not get what they were talking about. And maybe with subtitles, I would have understood. But it's so whispery and so hectic that, and it's kind of theatrical. So she goes from at the beginning, she goes from one room to the next again, to the next again. And then at the end, she does the same, and then she disappears, and then she comes back, and you go, "What? What was happening?" Like, I feel like it's a good concept. They were trying, but trying too hard. I don't know. Yeah. But Elizabeth Moss is really good. I read that everything was scripted, and so it's a very difficult script to do. So I do think that she's a great actress in that sense. But the film was just long and hectic, and I didn't understand what was going on, and the songs were long. And also, the last thing, whose smell? Whose smell?
What?
Whose smell?
Her
Like, I
smell?
was waiting for her smell to pop up, and whose smell is it?
It's just a name for the film, Alex.
No. Carabiner Quigley is about Carabiner Quigley. The favorite is about the girl who's the favorite. You know, the Avengers is about the Avengers. Like, whose smell?
Well, I guess it's meant to be Elizabeth Moss's character, her smell. She's
But that's the thing. I feel like the title didn't even match the film, and that's how I feel like how mismatched the film was.
I feel
from
like the title totally matches the film.
How?
Because they're all drawn to her. They can't escape her influence. Her smell is trapping them in her influence, in her world.
Like, I'm amazed that you found that was the thing, because I was just like, whose smell? Because at the end, after 2 hours and 10 minutes, and the camera pans up again and says her smell, and I was like, whose smell?
You have lost me, Alex, completely.
Whose smell?
I feel like you're being very unfair on this film, personally.
No, I'm not. I'm never unfair. I've been I watch. You made me watch Twin Peaks, and I was really really fair about it. You make me watch stuff that I might not watch. I have been very fair. I wouldn't be unfair. I was confused by the film. Can I be confused by a film? Like, I would say her smell. So there might be like a little, like in the film, maybe a little scene where somebody smells her hair and you're like, oh, that's her smell.
That is,
but
that
nobody
is
does
lunacy.
that.
Why would that be in the film? It's a metaphor.
Because the title of a film should somehow like represent something. It represented nothing. If they said whispering, I would say yes.
It's a
That's
metaphor.
definitely-
I don't remember any.
How do you know it's a metaphor? Like, that's the thing. I understood the film so little that I didn't get the metaphor. I just thought these people need to leave this woman and go away.
But they can't leave her because of her smell.
No, but this is your interpretation. Have
Yeah,
you read
that's
that
what I like
anywhere?
about it. It's open to interpretation.
Yeah, it's open to be like, what did I just watch? And I think if it had been maybe half an hour less, it would have been better.
See, for me, I like how long it is. It doesn't feel long to me because it's only 5 scenes, and each scene runs for, half an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
But because the number of scenes is quite short, and I find each scene on its own really engrossing, the whole thing to me doesn't feel like as long as it is.
Oh no, I just felt like every scene's like, when is this scene going to end? When they're in the club, when they have to perform and the 3 girls come down, and it's just like, can we finish this? Like, it's done. Come on. I know something is happening. It's not good. There's some papers, sign them. I don't care. She's having a meltdown. Stop. Finished. Like, it's just repetitive as well, because she's not nice. She's self-destructing, and the only time she changes is the last scene. Well, not the last. Yeah, when she's sober, and you go, well, the rest she's just been mean and rude to everyone.
Yeah.
And I've just watched a mean, rude person for an hour and a half, and then now I'm watching half an hour of somebody saying something that I don't understand because you're whispering. You're bloody whispering.
I genuinely, I've watched that film twice. I can't disagree more about the level of. I don't understand. I feel like you must have watched a version with a poorly mixed audio or something.
I don't know. Like, maybe because the weird thing is I got it from Amazon Prime, and there were no subtitles, and usually there are subtitles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I had to buy it because I couldn't rent it. So I'll send you, and you can watch the poorly one. And I assure you, I would call it The Whispering, and that would have been a perfect title. Or Manic, or the lady who hates. I don't know, something.
Okay.
It was just. I'm sorry, and I hate like putting stuff down, but I'm just saying my opinion.
No, it's
like,
totally
you liked
fair.
it, and that's great. And I think the acting was great. Like, Elizabeth Moss was great, and I think everybody was good in their own bit. I just wish I understood what they were saying.
Fair. That's fair. That's I understand.
Yeah. And I wish the title would have been different.
I mean, I don't understand on that one. I disagree.
Like, her light, that would have been better. Like, you attracted to light. Like, moths are attracted to light.
But people are attracted to smells.
Her stage.
Her stage would be a terrible title.
Fine. Her smell is a terrible title.
No, it's a great,
Her smell,
evocative title.
But there's never that. The problem is they never talk, or there's never a hint about what smell is. There has to be something.
Have you never heard of metaphor?
Yeah, but in a film, when you go, for me, in a film where you go, okay, at the end of the film you go, whose smell? That means I didn't get the metaphor. So that means the film wasn't actually successful in their metaphor. With my brain.
For you, yeah, maybe for you. Yes, fair.
Maybe we should ask somebody, what do you think her smell is?
Nobody's answering.
Who knows? But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry whoever put all the hours in this film. I don't wanna be one of those people, but I personally didn't feel like it was just too much for me.
Yeah,
Like it could
so-
have been shorter, it could have been more I don't know. But you liked it and that's the important thing. And a lot of people liked it because you know.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, lots of people like.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on to do the top 5?
I think so.
Okay, we're going to do our top 5 now. It's the second part of our top 10 actors. I'm gonna.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our top 5.
I'm going to start, and then we'll get on to you next. Yeah.
Yes. Shall we remind our audience of our 10 to 6?
Yeah, let's do that first. We'll remind them of our 10 to number 6.
Are we trying to do some ASMR?
No, I'm just whispering.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so my number 10 to 6 was.
It would be funny if you watched the film again and you noticed everybody whispering.
It would be. I will watch it again at some point because it's a brilliant film.
I've got it. I had to buy it, so
Did you buy it on DVD?
No, I bought it on Amazon Prime because they
How-
wouldn't rent it to me. I could just buy it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Right.
Right, man. We've moved on from homework now. We're in top 5.
Sorry.
My number 10 was Robert Pattinson. Number 9, Lupita Nyong'o. Number 8, Elizabeth Moss. Number 7, Sam Neill. And number 6, Jake Gyllenhaal. What was your 10 to 6?
10, Jeff Bridges. 9, Kid and Kiki. 8, Alan Rickman. 7, Emma Stone. 6, Forrest Whitaker.
Exciting times. So now we get into our top 5, the actors that we like more than those actors.
Oh, I don't like it.
My number 5 pick is an actor who is quite a recent actor, is working a lot at the moment, has done a lot of cool stuff, and I just love her in every single thing I've seen her in, and it is Tessa Thompson.
Who?
Who? Have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
No.
You've not seen? No. What? Oh, okay. You should watch Thor Ragnarok, Alex.
Wait, Tessa Thompson?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do you recognise her?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, do you know what you've seen? Have you seen her, anything?
Dear White People.
Oh, I see. I haven't seen
And-
Dear White People. Is she good in that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I know her from Creed, the Rocky movie starring Michael B. Jordan, where she plays love interest, and she, have you seen the original Rocky?
Yeah.
So, Rocky in the original Rocky falls in love with Adrian, who supports him and helps him, and he's very much a brilliantly acted character in that movie, but he's kind of also exists in order to be, all of her character motivation is around being in love with Rocky, if you see what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Tessa Thompson playing kind of that role in Creed has, and this isn't entirely down to her, this is down to the person who wrote the script and all of that, but her character has her own motivations and exists in her own world that Creed kind of discovers and explores, and they kind of work together rather than her just being there to kind of support Creed. But she does also do that, she plays a singer who's slowly going deaf and knows that at some point she won't be able to perform anymore, and that's a really tough thing to live with, and she just performs it so well. And I think that was the first movie I saw her in and was like, this actress is crazy. So yeah, she's in Creed. She's in a movie called Sorry to Bother You, which stars another actor I really like, who's probably in my honourable mentions, whose name I am forgetting, Lakeith Stanfield, who's in Get Out and a few other movies. Sorry to Bother You is this utterly bizarre sort of satire on consumerism, wrapped up in like a kind of sci-fi urban film. I mean urban as in it's set in an urban environment. I don't mean it in any other way. Anyway, Sorry to Bother You is a weird movie. She's really good in it, in a kind of mad role. Westworld, the TV series Westworld, she plays a really kind of cold, calculating character in that, and is excellent. And then she performed. She gives one of, probably, if I was to do like a top 5 favorite performances in Marvel films, she would be on that. Playing a character called Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok, which you haven't seen.
No.
I'm really surprised by that.
Which one?
It's
I thought.
It's the.
Oh yeah, well, because the thing is, since leaving Japan, I haven't had my Avengers buddy.
No, I understand. It's just I just assumed
And
you'd
it's
seen it for some
you.
reason because it's directed.
And-
It's directed by Taika Waititi. It's that one.
Yeah, but like all the films are dubbed in this country, and
But
watching
haven't you got Disney
Marvel
Plus now?
films.
You've got Disney Plus now, right?
Yeah, but I have to watch them by myself.
I know it's not
'cause
as much.
Nobody
fun.
wants to watch them with me.
I know.
Then they're not exciting. Like I watched Black Panther by myself, and I thought, yeah, it's good. But it would be better if George was next to me, and we could like, yeah, look at that, that's amazing.
Exactly true. But no, she is
Yeah.
awesome in Thor Ragnarok, and yeah, and she's also in a movie called Annihilation on Netflix. Have you seen Annihilation?
No,
Anni-
I've only seen her in Dear White People.
Okay, Annihilation's a really cool film. It mainly stars Natalie Portman, who almost made my top 10 because I love Natalie Portman, but she didn't quite.
Yeah.
But Annihilation is a great sort of sci-fi movie. Tessa Thompson plays a scientist in that, and they go into a zone to explore a meteor that's landed and is kind of creating genetic mutations in wildlife and stuff. Very good movie. So yeah, that's my number 5 pick. Tessa Thompson. I think she's fantastic. I look forward to everything she does in the future, and my favourite performance of hers is in the Marvel movies. So yeah,
Great.
there we go.
Yeah, I need to watch them. It just, I need a buddy. I need to find a Italian George.
No, you don't. That sounds awful. What's your number 5 pick? Who's your number 5 pick?
Oh, this was extra hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 5 is an Australian actress called Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I put her in because I think she is great. Like even if the film that she's in is not good, she makes it good. Do you know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean. I'm now regretting that she's
Yeah.
not in my top 10.
Ah, well, she's a new edition of today because I was really like torn, and I was like, oh, who? And then I was like, Margot Robbie, she's amazing, and I
Yeah.
love her. And the first time I saw her was in, well, actually was it Home and Away or the other one?
I don't watch Australian soap operas. I can't help you.
It was one of the 2 Australian soap operas. So I
Neighbours?
saw her
Is
there.
it Neighbours?
Maybe Neighbours. I'm not sure if it was Neighbours or Home and Away. Neighbours. She was in Neighbours from 2008, 2011. But, you know. But the first time I saw her on the big screen was in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Ah, we saw
And-
that together.
We saw that together. And although the film, like... every film directed by Martin Scorsese is like an hour too long. Not that they're not great. I'm not saying they're not great, but after a while,
We know how you
know
feel
what-
about long movies, Alex.
dude, shall we go a few episodes back when you're like, oh, this corner of the world is so long.
That is a long film. That is such a
well,
long
The Wolf
film.
of Wall Street is a long film,
Yeah, but it's
but
got energy.
Margot Robbie is so good in it. And she does this, like, is it supposed to be like New York accent?
Yeah.
Like, beautiful. And you think, wow. And like this, Australians are incredible at accents, aren't they? Like, yeah. And you kind of forgot that she was ever in Neighbours. And
Yeah, I didn't even know
and
she
then
was
I
in
saw
Neighbours.
yeah. And then she was in Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which I talked about maybe a few weeks ago, and which she's playing a reporter in Afghanistan, and still great there, like completely different role, really, really good. And then she does films like Mary Queen of Scots, which she's really good in that, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where
yes.
she hardly says anything,
Yeah.
but she's amazing.
She's incredible in that film.
She's so good. And
Yeah.
you go, yes, like, how can you be, like, you're so talented that you can just not say anything and still be so memorable.
And I didn't even, when you talked about Margot Robbie then, I didn't even think of that because you just forget that she's Margot Robbie when you're watching that film. She
Yeah.
just disappears
Yeah.
into that character completely.
Yeah. And she's great.
Yeah.
I love her. She's talented. She's great. And she's, I've seen interviews with her. She seems like a really like cool girl. It's just really not good. And, I haven't seen Suicide Squad or Birds of Prey, and I'm not sure if they're good.
Well-
and I heard Suicide Squad wasn't very good, but I'm sure she's probably amazing as Harlequin.
Suicide Squad is awful. She is fantastic in it. Birds of Prey is great, and you should watch it.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely
'Cause
watch
I really
Birds
want to
of
watch
Prey.
that, but I've heard that because you told me Suicide
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad was bad. I was like, oh.
No, yeah, there's no reason for you to watch Suicide Squad, but Harley Quinn or Birds of Prey stands separately from Suicide Squad. You can watch that just on its own, and it's a really fun movie, and
okay.
she's fantastic in it. And Ewan McGregor's really good in it as well, and a few other actors. Yeah, no, you should definitely watch Birds of Prey for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, she's great, and she's so versatile. I think she could be in anything and be great. I think.
I would agree.
Yeah, so that's why.
I would agree.
And yeah, I would agree.
I would agree.
Yes.
Perfectly splendid.
Yeah. But yeah, my number 5, Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. That's a fantastic pick. It's a bit like Jake Gyllenhaal last week when you were like, "What? How did I forget?"
Yes.
Can't believe I didn't think of Margot Robbie. She's amazing.
So good.
Okay. My number 4 pick is someone who I bring up again and again on this podcast, so it probably won't be a surprise to you that they're in my top 5. It is an actress whose roles I've enjoyed consistently for years and years, and I genuinely think is amazing. And yeah, it's Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
And I know you have your issues around Scarlett Johansson, but I don't know. I've just always, from Lost in Translation all the way through to Jojo Rabbit last year, I think that she is a really good actor. She takes on big blockbuster roles. Like she's so good in the Marvel films, in my opinion, as Black Widow. But then she does take on a really interesting range of different films outside of that. You know, in the recent years, she's done Chef, Lucy. Have you seen Lucy?
Ah, yeah.
Lucy is
No.
just such a bonkers movie. She's so good in it. Marriage Story. Have you seen Marriage Story?
Ah, no, I really want to watch it. Yeah.
It's a wonderful film. She's so good in that. Jojo Rabbit, we talked about that before.
Yeah.
Under the Skin, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
She did a comedy a couple of years ago that I watched. I watched it twice in a row on a plane. Which it got really bad reviews, but I really like it. Called Rough Night.
That film is terrible.
I really like it.
How did you enjoy that film?
I don't know. I can't explain it. I just really
It was so
like it.
bad.
Don't know. I like Scarlett Johansson.
So bad.
And I really like... Did we talk
Okay.
about Kate McKinnon last week?
No, she's so... Oh. She's so good, isn't she?
Yeah, I wanted to put her in my top 10 because I love and adore Kate McKinnon. But when you look at her
so good.
filmography, she's not yet done like films that I feel
Yeah.
are worthy of her
But
talents.
she's a great actress, though.
She is a great actress. She's a really, really good actress.
Oh.
And she's really funny. And I sent you that video of her doing the Greek Doctor on Saturday.
I watched it like 3 times because it was so funny.
Oh, I'll make
Then he goes, Kate, are you okay?
It's this great clip on a recent Saturday Night Live where she is playing this character who's meant to be a doctor called Doctor We Know This, and she just keeps saying we know this, and she kind of breaks character. It's just very, very funny. I'll make sure that it's linked to it in the show notes.
Yes, please, because that is hilarious.
And also the video of Kate McKinnon as Hillary Clinton playing Hallelujah after the 2016 presidential election on Saturday Night Live. I just love that woman. She's
so
the
good.
absolute best.
Yeah.
But
You're right.
I couldn't put her in my top 10 because they haven't made a film worthy of her skills yet, in my opinion. Like films of like Yesterday, a movie I hate. She's in that and she's very good in it, but I can't like Yesterday, Rough Night, Ghostbusters, and Bombshell, which I haven't even seen yet. They're like the movies that she's done. Anyway, Kate McKinnon's great, but we're talking about Scarlett Johansson. And Rough Night, which is a great movie. Trust in Translation.
Yeah.
Trotsky's Ladden's Trage. Lost in Translation, obviously, is I just adore that movie so much. I've been to the bar in the hotel in Tokyo that they go to. I don't know. I really like Scarlett Johansson. She is always good in everything I've seen her in, and she can be an action star, she can be a dramatic star, she can do literally anything, and I will watch it. A comedy star, yeah. Scarlett Johansson, good times.
Good.
What's your
I
number
like
4?
My number 4. So my number 4 is an English actress who I spoke about a few weeks ago when I was talking about my episode 9, my favorite British TV shows. And she is called Michaela Cole.
Oh wow!
You know?
From Chewing Gum.
Yes.
Oh okay.
Yeah. I've been like, I've just discovered her. Well, I last year,
Yeah.
2019, with Chewing Gum. But and then I'm watching Black Earth Rising at the moment, and I May Destroy You, and she is so good, and she's got such a range, and I feel she acts so naturally, and she can do comedy. Like Chewing Gum is really funny, but Black Earth Rising is really like intense, and like she needs to kind of like be really intense, and she's really good at that. And in I May Destroy You, she has to like kind of play both, because it's kind of a comedy drama.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's so versatile in what she does, but also always Michaela Cole. Like she's really truthful to herself, and I really like her, and that's why I put her here, because I think the more time is going to go, the more things we're going to see her in. Because I didn't realize she was in some Black Mirrors, so I'm going to watch them. And I think she's a really good actress. And yeah, and I thought I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and I think she's great.
No, I've never watched
yeah, so
anything
I
she's
really-
done, and I feel like I should.
Yeah, you definitely should, because I think she's she's amazing. Yeah, she's really good. And I can only talk about the 3 things I watched, but in all 3, she's really good.
Awesome. Cool. So that's your
Yes.
number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, good. My number 3 pick
Yeah.
is an actor who defines acting and
Yeah.
being great at acting.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
the man, the myth, the legend,
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
I knew it was going to come at some point.
Bring me all the Nicolas Cage you've got. I'll take
Yeah.
any of it. I'm just gonna read a list of films now. That's all I'm gonna do for a second. Face
Yeah.
Off, The Rock,
Yeah.
Con
I
Air,
love that.
Mandy,
Yes.
The Color Out of Space, Raising Arizona, Vampire's Kiss, Wild at Heart, Leaving Las Vegas, Snake Eyes, Adaptation, National Treasure, Bad Lieutenant, Kick-Ass, Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. Come on. And that's not even everything he's done. That's just the best things he's done. The man is a machine.
Mm-hmm.
The man is a machine
Yeah.
of brilliant movies. He had a run there for about 6-7 years where he made a lot of awful stuff, supposedly due to tax-related reasons. Giant pyramid tombs are expensive. But I think I fell in love with film and acting in general by watching his action films in the 90s when I was younger, and I just continue to be blown away by the kind of performances he does. Like just within the last year, The Color Out of Space is one of my favourite movies from the past 12 months. His performance in that is great. He does this bonkers weird Donald Trump impression in it at points. He's meant to be, the character is meant to be impersonating his dad, but he just does it as if it's Trump. It's just so strange, and then everything just falls apart. It's just great in it. Mandy from the past couple of years as well. He just gave this wonderful there's a scene in Mandy where he's driving a car and just grinning, and it just is chilling and strange. Yeah, the man can do a lot of wrong, but he also does so much right that I adore him and everything he does. You know, he's a comic book fan. I like him. He's the best. What do you think of Nicolas Cage?
I like him. Yeah. Yeah. Well, most of my childhood was with him.
Yeah. Oh, I'm jealous.
You know, Face Off, Con Air. Those are just classics that you just probably have watched at least 10 times.
Yeah, he made them
and I
all
know
in a row as well. He
exactly-
made I can't remember the order, but he made The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off. Boom, 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 all in a row.
Yeah, like those are classics that they will never die. So yeah, and you know, he's a bit crazy, and he's Nicolas Cage. But you know, you haven't watched Moonstruck.
I
which is
know. I'm sorry. I will
ridiculous.
watch Moonstruck.
You have to,
I will.
because it's amazing, and it's a Nicolas Cage that maybe you haven't seen before.
Yeah, I did once set out on a mission to watch every film he'd made and failed. I did not achieve that goal.
Amazing.
He's made
you'll have to
some
spend-
awful films.
Yeah.
But you know,
But it's good, you know, when you have actors that, you know, make a lot of films and they're still going strong.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can well, not always, but you can generally rely on him to be interesting. He puts across interesting performances, and you know, takes unexpected routes. So yeah, I
Nice.
don't know how much more there is to say about it. I love Nicolas Cage unreservedly. I have a framed poster of him in my house. I like him.
You're insane.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
he's the best. All right.
he is. Fantastic. My number 3 is a little bit like your Nicolas Cage, actually.
Oh yeah.
But is very prolific, has been very prolific, and I love him. Is an American actor called Brad Pitt.
Bradley Pitt.
Bradley Pitt.
Ah, star of World War Z.
Yeah, I love Brad Pitt. Like he was one of the first ones I put because I think I can watch pretty much Brad Pitt in any film and
Yeah.
I'll be happy to watch him.
Yeah.
I think the first film I ever watched with him was I think it was Thelma and Louise, maybe one of the first ones.
I mean, that's one of his first ones.
Yeah, I used to love Gina Davis,
Oh yeah.
and so she's amazing.
She's
Well,
the best.
I don't know what she, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
Alex,
But,
let me tell you about Gina Davis.
yeah.
She stopped acting to go
Yeah.
and be like an Olympian archer.
Has she?
Yeah, she's like an Olympian. She's an amazing woman. She is
Wow.
incredible, Gina Davis. Well done, Gina Davis. You keep
Wow.
doing you.
Yeah. But yeah, go Gina. But yeah, like Nicolas Cage, come on, he's got 7, 12 Monkeys, Sleepers, 7 Years in Tibet. Oh, beautiful film. Like probably hasn't aged well, but it's beautiful scenery. Snatch, Ocean's 11, Troy, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is probably one of the only films I didn't like with him.
Yeah, that movie's bad, but never mind.
That film is bad,
Yeah.
and I regretted watching it. But yeah, and then you know World War Z, which I love, and etc. etc. He's you know Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the last film I watched with him. You know, I thought it was amazing.
that is
'cause it was
probably
just Brad Pitt.
unquestionably the most deserving Oscar win of all time.
Brad Pitt.
Is Brad Pitt winning. His performance in that is
Absolutely.
probably the best performance of like the last decade in a film. I love him in that movie.
He's so good. He's so good. And I love him. And he's just Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt and doing what he does best. Being a cool dude and
Yeah.
amazing at it.
Yeah.
And he's done so many films and he's still great. And did they do a zombie movie? The Lost City of Zed?
No, that's not a zombie movie.
Okay.
Is he in that?
I
Is
just
he in,
looked at-
is he in the Lost City of Z?
I don't know.
All right.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he produced
He's a
it.
producer.
Oh, right, yeah.
He produced it.
Robert Pattinson's in that film. I keep meaning to watch
Yeah.
it. It's about people.
Yeah,
It's
but-
a true story of people exploring. I think South America maybe for a lost city.
Okay.
So it's not a zombie film.
Yeah. Okay. But no, he's great. He's amazing. I still love him. And yeah.
Have we talked about
just
Ocean's
Brad
11?
Pitt. Yeah.
I love
him in there.
my-
He eats constantly.
Yeah, I was going to say one of my favorite things is the way he is eating in every single scene in that film, and no one
Every
can
single scene.
eat as charismatically as Brad Pitt can in that film.
Like, he's beautiful, he's charismatic, he's a good actor, he's just great.
Well, he's just eating
and-
chips and then licking his fingers. Oh, he's just
Yeah.
wonderful, man. I love him.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, I think he's great. So if he's in it, I'll watch it. Yes, so that's my number 3, Brado Pitto.
I like it. I'm into it. It's good. Let's go with it.
Mm.
Brad Pitt. All right, my number 2. Now, my number 2 sort of stands side by side with Nicolas Cage as being an actor that often gets a lot of flack with people who misunderstand his performances and think he's bad. He's not bad. He's the best. Up until a couple of years ago, I'd have ranked Nicolas Cage above this guy, but in recent years, I've just become more and more endeared to both his performances and his off-screen personality. And he seems like, and all the stories you hear about him is that he is the sweetest and most lovely man. I am, of course, talking about the incomparable Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't you just love Keanu
Like,
Reeves, Alex?
I love Keanu Reeves. And the last film I saw with him was, wait a second. No, I'll have to find it. Keanu Reeves.
Can you Reeves?
I can't say Keanu.
Yeah.
Like Keanu.
Keanu.
What's his name?
Keanu Reeves?
Can you? Because in Italy we say Keanu Reeves.
Can you Reeves? No, I can't. Can you
Reeves?
Reeves? Yes, I can.
Oh, so the last film I watched him in
Yeah.
was Always Be My Maybe.
Ah, he's incredible in
He
Always
is
Be My Maybe.
So good in that. He's so good in that, and it's just, and I have to admit this, like, I watched that scene of the restaurant like so many times because it's so good when he just walks in. He's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry I interrupted.
No, it's totally
just-
fine.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Keanu.
So
Keanu.
I'm going to read off another list of films.
Go.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Mhm.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Bill and Ted Face the Music. The Matrix. The Matrix Reloaded. The Matrix Revolutions. I will defend those Matrix sequels. I like them. Speed. And
Oh, Speed.
do you know why? Do
With
you know
Miss
why?
Sandra.
Do you know why Keanu Reeves didn't do Speed 2?
Why?
Because he wanted to go to Canada and perform in like an amateur dramatics version of, I think it was Macbeth or Hamlet. And instead of taking a massive paycheck to do Speed 2, he went to Canada and performed Shakespeare in some sort of regional theatre. And I just adore that. I just love him for that. And he was blacklisted by
cool.
Fox for years, apparently, because he'd, they felt like he'd betrayed them.
Yeah.
He's just the best. John Wick Chapter 2, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, Point Break,
Point Break.
Point Break, I just love that man in that movie. Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, A Scanner Darkly, Always Be My Maybe, obviously, and
Yeah.
the highlight of Toy Story 4 is also Keanu Reeves. I just adore him. And, writing out that list, I did realise he's done a lot of franchises and sequels and stuff. But I don't care. I don't mind at all. He's just the best.
Yeah.
I love him from Bill and Ted all the way up to The Matrix. He's just the absolute best. And yeah, like there's an amazing clip of him training for John Wick and training how to be like he's done so many action movies and he's actually like for real learned the choreography and really throws himself into it. But he's not like a big macho sort of alpha male type. He's a really sweet, nice man by all counts. And I just love him. I love him. I love Keanu Reeves. I love him. I'm gonna stop saying it now, but I do love him. Well, you love him as well, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like when you said Keanu Reeves, I was like, it's I can't believe. Well, yeah, yeah, he's amazing.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Okay.
I agree.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is an actor, a bit like Michaela Cole. I haven't seen her much in things, but I think she is amazing, and I can't wait to see more. And I want to see things back. And I've only seen 3 films with her, but I think she's so good that, oh my goodness gracious me,
Wow.
And my number 2 is Florence Pugh.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think she's amazing. Like, she has really put a stamp into my heart. I'm so glad I watched Midsummer
Yes.
because that performance was like, wow,
Yeah.
you are great, and you are so well, like so she could do anything, and I that's why I put it in because I'm excited to see more of her,
Yeah.
and she's going to be in Black Widow
Yep.
next year, and I hope I can watch with you.
I hope so too. And
but
I really hope that she sort of, I don't know if she becomes a new Black Widow or what, but I hope that she has an ongoing role
Yeah.
in the Marvel movies off the back of that, because
Yeah.
in the trailer she looks great.
But in Little Women, she's amazing. In Midsummer, she's incredible. In Fighting with My Family, she's really, really good. Like, she's one of those actresses that put everything into into her acting, and she's great.
And how different are those
And
three movies as well? Like,
so different. Like, and she hasn't done that many movies, but she's so great in all of in the three I've watched. So she's good, and I think more is to come. And I really like her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who she's going
But
out with at the moment?
Yeah, Zach Braff.
Zach Braff. What an odd, just strange.
How odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, I would have gone out with Zach Braff like 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
not now.
But she couldn't have gone out with him 20 years ago because she'd have been a baby.
Young.
But never mind.
Yeah, but they have a lot of backlash. It's like, why don't people just leave her alone?
Absolutely, I don't mind it. It's just
No, it's
strange. It's only strange in so much as I wouldn't have guessed it. But if they're happy, they're happy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. But she's like a chameleon, isn't she? Because
Yeah,
even
she
when
is.
she talks and you hear her in interviews, it's like, you're not the same person that was acting in Midsummer.
Yeah. Oh, her performance in Midsummer is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I put her in number 2.
Okay.
Because I think one day she might be in my number 1 if she carries on this way.
Yep, that's fair.
Cool.
All right, my number 1?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 1 is someone who, a bit like you with some of your picks, I haven't seen them in many things. I've only seen them in about 3 films so far. And a TV show, actually. But every performance is amazing. And one of their films was in my top 5 films, and he's probably one of my favorite performances of all time. Just about, I absolutely love them. My number 1 pick is Florence Pugh.
No, really?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about it, but I put her in there. I'm not making this up just for the thing. It's there on my phone. You can see.
That's amazing. Like, I thought you were being really like, well, really? Why? But yeah, great.
No, I
Great.
completely agree.
She's amazing.
She's my absolute favorite. I adore everything. I've seen her in those 3 films we just talked about. I've got another one of her films on Blu-ray that I haven't watched yet called Lady Macbeth that I keep meaning to watch.
Yeah.
And she did. It was really not awkward because I don't know her personally, but it was really odd. She did a TV show a couple of years ago called Little Drummer Girl.
Yeah.
And she's really amazing in it, but I didn't finish it because I thought it was really boring and terrible.
Okay.
But she's really, really good in it. And I think that was the first thing I saw her in where I was like, oh, you're brilliant. I wish that this TV show was better, but you're good. And then I think Fighting. I remember watching this when we were going to the cinema and watching Fighting with My Family, having no expectations. I was literally just going to the cinema to see anything because it was like the only thing on, and just sitting there for 2 hours and being completely enraptured by her performance and being like, this is a person who I will watch do anything. And then Little Women and Midsummer, and she's the best. And I think I've been to the cinema 4 times since lockdown sort of happened, and in every single one I think I've seen a trailer for Black Widow, and I've been like, oh, let me see the new Florence Pugh film. And Scarlett Johansson, obviously, who is also Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh in a film together. I'm so there for it, and it will happen one day. So yeah, that's my number one. We already spoke about it a little bit, but I didn't want to mention it and steal your thunder because I figured I could just say it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is great.
She
is great.
She is the best. So what's your number? Who's your number one? Who do you wrongly think is better than Florence Pugh?
I apologize if you hear purring. The cat Miro has arrived.
Oh, the cat's here. Followers of our Instagram will be well acquainted with Miro.
Yeah, she has been trying to not make me work in recent days. I think it's the winter arriving, and now she's like.
She just wants pets and cuddles.
Yeah, she does, and warmth. I think that's all she wants from me is warmth. That's all, warmth and food.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number one, I think, is an incredible actor, and I love everything I've seen her in. And her name is Frances McDormand.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So Frances McDormand, she has done she's got such a range in films, Raising Arizona, Mississippi Burning, and then you go to like Fargo.
Yeah.
And then, she's just I don't know, she's done so many different films, and she's such a good actress that you kind of forget that she is her in a way sometimes. But yeah, so she's great. I love her. I talked about her in in my favorite top 5 movies, and she in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. She was incredible.
She is,
and I'm looking forward to seeing her in The French Dispatch. I want to see it. But she's great. She's got a great range. She's amazing. She's in the Coen brothers film, so better than that.
Well, she's married to one of them,
and she's married to one of them. And I think she's just amazing. She's an amazing actress. She's just great, and I think she's top class.
Yeah, no, I can 100% get behind that choice. She is, she's brilliant. She is brilliant. Yeah. Fargo is. I mean, Fargo. Yeah. Come on, Fargo.
Burn After Reading.
But if she had only done Fargo and 3 Billboards, she would still earn a place on your list. And then she's done everything else she's done as well. She's consistent and wonderful. Yeah. No. Yeah. Good. Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of our lists. Do you want to go one more time from 5? So, from 5, my number 5 was Tessa Thompson. My number 4 was Scarlett Johansson. Number 3, Nicolas Cage. Number 2, Keanu Reeves. And number 1, Florence Pugh.
Ooh. And my top 5, number 5, Margot Robbie. Number 4, Michaela Cole. Number 3, Brad Pitt. Number 2, Florence Pugh. And number 1, Frances McDormand.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for a list of honourable mentions?
Go.
Jeff Goldblum, Emma Stone, Chadwick Boseman, Jamie Lee Curtis, Sigourney Weaver, Daniel Kaluuya, Kate McKinnon, Kristen Stewart, Natalie Portman, Lakeith Stanfield, Adam Driver, Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Gosling, Michael B. Jordan, Paul Dano, Brie Larson, Mads Mikkelsen, Emma Watson, Saoirse Ronan, Woody Harrelson, Joaquin Phoenix, Ewan McGregor, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Michael Keaton, Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, Kurt Russell, Toni Collette, John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Bryan Cranston, Laura Dern, Frances McDormand, Sam Rockwell, Nicole Kidman, Jesse Plemons, Harrison Ford, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Peter Capaldi, Dan Stevens. Done.
Fantastic. So the ones you haven't said, Bette Midler. You haven't said Bette Midler.
No.
I think she's amazing.
Cool.
Anna Kendrick.
Oh, why isn't she on my list? She's in my top 5. Why isn't... Fine. Yes, Anna Kendrick.
Okay, yeah. And then Colin Firth.
Okay.
Kate Winslet.
Mm-hmm.
Susan Sarandon.
Mm-hmm.
Uma Thurman.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downing Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Christoph Waltz.
Yep.
Toni Collette.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman.
Yep.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Harrelson.
Woody has a house, son.
Kirsty Scott Thomas. Mark Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Carlyle. Kerry Mulligan. Helena Bonham Carter. Julie Andrews.
Good.
Yeah. But I agree with all of them you said, and then I've added some.
Good. I'm just
Yeah.
really
and
upset.
there are more. There are much more. You actors are great.
Actors are wonderful
They're much
people.
more.
They entertain us
Actors
a
are
lot.
wonderful people.
I'm so upset.
But Anna Kendrick.
Why isn't she in my list?
Well, I was trying to find a place for Anna, and I was like,
I didn't even put in my honourable mentions.
But I think our honourable mentions are joined.
She's going to be so upset if she ever hears this.
No,
Put her in my list.
Why?
Because I love her. No, it's
I know,
fine.
I love her
Okay.
too, and she was nearly on my top 10. But it's just hard, isn't it? It's a hard top 10.
If I'm ever down, I watch Pitch Perfect, and I'm happy for 48 hours.
Like, I nearly put her in because every film I watched with her, I have enjoyed.
Oh, me too, almost, except for the Day Shall Come, which was a bit disappointing.
I've not watched that, but yeah.
Anyway,
that's a shame.
Homework time.
Yes.
So I was gonna go back because I figured like Florence Pugh, Keanu Reeves, Nicolas Cage, Scarlett Johansson. There's no point getting you to watch anything of theirs because you know them already.
Okay.
And then so I was gonna get you to go and watch The Lighthouse. I was gonna go back and get you to watch The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson. But now that you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok because that's the Tessa Thompson performance that made me fall in love with her.
Okay.
So I think Thor Ragnarok, Tessa Thompson in Thor Ragnarok. That's your homework. But this is doable.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
What about you?
I think so I think the only one that you really haven't seen anything with is Michaela Cole.
Yeah, that's true.
So I would say watch you choose. Either Chewing Gum or Black Earth Rising.
Can I start at the beginning? Can I watch Chewing Gum?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
I'm gonna watch Chewing Gum. I'll start today.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Black Earth Rising you can watch another time. But it's really good.
I might watch both. No, I won't watch
very
both because
nice.
we're recording again quite soon. I'll watch Chewing Gum.
Yeah.
I'll watch Chewing Gum.
Okay.
I'll watch Chewing Gum. You can definitely you've got Disney Plus, so you'll have no issues with watching Thor Ragnarok. It'll probably even have subtitles.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna send you my copy.
Okay,
Whatever I have, my download.
Send me your copy of Her Smell.
And maybe you'll understand.
Okay, well, I'll understand now.
Fantastic.
About Her Smell.
It's been a great episode. Anna Kendrick is gonna be so mad at you.
Oh, don't talk to me about it.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
You like at least I put her in my honorable mentions.
Even in my honorable mentions.
You completely forgot about her.
Anna Kendrick, I think you're better than Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can have his place in my honorable mentions. Okay.
Cool.
Next, right. Thank you for joining us on another bumper-packed edition of Culture Bucket. I hope you found some stuff that you might be interested in watching or listening to. If I had, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. What's wrong?
The cat is putting the clothes in my
I thought you were furious at
thigh.
me. So think about let's try a new feature. New feature time. New feature time. Everybody's here for a new feature time. There's your jingle.
Time.
Culture catch up, Alex.
Yeah.
If you had to pick two things from your culture catch up this week to recommend to people, what would it be?
Definitely. Have you heard George's podcast? And the podcast, have you heard George's podcast? And Maverick Sabre's album, When I Wake Up.
There you go. So I put you on the spot a bit there, so thank you for that. Have a listen to those, listeners, and get in touch with us with your thoughts and opinions, and we might read some out.
Yes, please.
And on my behalf, if I had two things that I would recommend strongly from this week, it would be Visions of Bodies Being Burned, the album by Clipping, and His House, the new Netflix movie, which I thought was powerful and incredible and made me cry when it finished. So give it a go.
Oh, cool.
Join us next time for our top 5 directors. We're going to be talking about those auteurs that create the products we like so much. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's going to be cool and fun. I'm sure we'll be talking about plenty
Yeah.
of fantastic directors. Alex will roll her eyes at me, I'm sure, with some of my picks, and then I'll make her watch the films, and it'll be good.
No. Oh, you're like torturing me. I think this is your personal horror show. Are you filming me by any chance?
Yeah. What's that behind you? There's a thing on the...
Oh, don't do that, George. I will actually... Oh, George, you like, you are an asshole. If you look at that, can you see there is a face? And that freaked me out the other day. I jumped and screamed on my chair.
Wow.
Oh, George.
Sorry. So, folks, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing
Thank
you
you
again.
for joining us.
Please keep listening. And, we'll
Yes,
see you next
please.
time.
Bye.